Something very unexpected is happening inside the Baltimore Ravens organization right now, and honestly, almost nobody saw this coming. While most of the attention during OTAs has been focused on the biggest stars, one player completely flew under the radar, until now. And after what happened at practice recently, people inside Baltimore are starting to look at this situation very differently. Because if this continues, the Ravens may have quietly discovered a player who could completely change the depth and energy of this team moving forward. What makes this story even crazier is the fact that this player missed essentially an entire season, disappeared from conversations for months, and now suddenly delivered what many are calling the defensive play of the day. But that's not even the biggest part of this entire story, because the reaction from the coaching staff afterward may have revealed something even bigger happening behind the scenes with this new Ravens era. But before we continue, make sure you smash that like button if you truly believe this Ravens team is about to surprise a lot of people this season. And I want everybody in the comments right now to write, I believe in this Ravens team, because the energy surrounding Baltimore during these OTAs feels completely different right now. The player everybody is suddenly talking about is Robert Longerbeam. According to reports from practice, the defensive play of the day came from the second-year cornerback after he intercepted a Skylar Thompson pass and returned it toward the end zone. That immediately grabbed attention because Robert Longerbeam is not one of the headline names people expected to dominate conversations during OTAs. In fact, many fans probably forgot just how difficult his rookie season was after he missed essentially the entire year because of knee surgery. And honestly, this changes a lot. The first thing this tells Ravens fans is simple: he's healthy again. Fully healthy. If he's already making plays like this during OTAs, that means he's back on the field confidently and participating at full speed. That alone is a major positive development for Baltimore's cornerback room because there are still several questions about depth behind the established names currently on the roster. The current situation at cornerback remains one of the more interesting battles on the team right now. The Ravens already have Marlon Humphrey, Nate Wiggins, T.J. Tampa, and Chad Owoye in the room. But after those names, there are still opportunities available for somebody to emerge and carve out a serious role. That's exactly why Longerbeam's performance matters so much. OTAs may only be the beginning, but players build momentum during moments like this. Sometimes one strong stretch during off-season practices completely changes how coaches view a player entering training camp. What also stood out was the reaction afterward. After Longerbeam celebrated with the defensive backs, Jesse Minter reportedly called everybody right back into position and told them to prepare for the next play immediately. That moment says a lot about the mentality this coaching staff is trying to establish. Celebrate the success, enjoy the moment, but stay locked in and keep working. There's clearly an emphasis on discipline, focus, and consistency being built during these practices. And Longerbeam wasn't the only encouraging injury update either. Reports also mentioned that both Robert Longerbeam and Ball Cone, along with Nate Wiggins, were participating in practice after surgeries within the last several months. Ball Cone is another player who lost essentially his entire rookie season because of injury. So seeing multiple young defensive backs finally healthy at the same time could become quietly important for the Ravens moving forward. Meanwhile, another major storyline continues developing on the offensive side of the football. The competition for the starting center job appears completely open right now. Veteran Danny Pinter reportedly received the first opportunity to work in that role, but Jesse Minter made it clear the team plans to rotate several different players while searching for the best option moving forward. Javon Gwynn and Keith Bulick were also mentioned as possible candidates as Baltimore continues evaluating the position. There was also clarification regarding Emory Jones. Reports indicated the coaching staff does not currently view him as a center option, and instead his role may become more of a versatile rotational offensive lineman capable of contributing in multiple situations off the bench. Another positive moment from OTAs involved Zay Flowers. After returning from Boston College, where he received his diploma and participated in graduation activities, he was immediately back participating in practice with the Ravens. That detail may seem small to some people, but it says a lot about the current energy around the team. Even after celebrating a major personal accomplishment, he still returned and got right back to work with the team during OTAs. And overall, that's really the biggest theme surrounding the Ravens right now: positive momentum. Everywhere you look, there are encouraging updates. Young players returning healthy. Coaches establishing accountability. Competition across multiple positions. Veterans participating. Communication improving throughout the organization. The energy surrounding this offseason feels completely different. One of the strongest examples of that came from discussions about communication between Lamar Jackson and Jesse Minter. Reports highlighted how open and healthy the communication has been between quarterback and coaching staff so far, something many people are paying close attention to as this new era continues taking shape. And maybe the most important thing Ravens fans should pay attention to right now is this: several players who were barely part of conversations a few weeks ago are suddenly becoming relevant again. Robert Longerbeam is the perfect example. Nobody expected him to produce the play of the day at OTAs, especially after missing so much time. But now, people are watching him closely. If he continues stacking performances like this throughout camp, he may force his way directly into Baltimore's defensive plans much sooner than expected. The excitement around these OTAs keeps growing because the deeper you look into everything happening behind the scenes, the more you start to understand why Ravens fans are getting so energized about this team. And one thing that really stands out is how many players are getting opportunities right now to prove themselves under this new coaching structure. It's not just about the stars. It's not just about the established veterans. The competition feels real across the roster, and that changes the entire atmosphere inside the building. The situation at center is a perfect example of that. Danny Pinter may have received the first opportunity to work as the starting center, but Jesse Minter made it very clear this is not a lock position. Multiple players are going to get chances. The coaching staff wants to evaluate everybody carefully before making a final decision, and honestly, that's exactly what many fans wanted to hear. Competition forces improvement. When nobody is guaranteed a role, players have to bring maximum effort every single practice. And even though some fans may feel disappointed that Emory Jones is apparently not being viewed as a center option, the fact that the staff still sees value in him as a rotational offensive lineman says they believe he can still contribute in meaningful ways. Sometimes players end up finding their best fit in a completely different role than originally expected. Another thing Ravens fans should pay attention to is how often positivity keeps appearing in these OTA reports. Whether it's Tyler Loop reportedly going 6 for 6 on field goals during practice, players returning healthy from injuries, or coaches emphasizing discipline and communication, there's a consistent pattern forming here. The overall energy surrounding the team feels extremely optimistic right now. And speaking of positive energy, Zay Flowers returning immediately after graduating from Boston College really resonated with a lot of people. He had every reason to continue celebrating after earning his diploma and participating in graduation festivities, but instead he came right back and joined practice with the team. That speaks to commitment. That speaks to focus. And those are exactly the kinds of details fans notice during an off-season. At the same time, there's another important discussion happening among Ravens fans right now: expectations. A lot of people are wondering how quickly this new coaching staff can truly elevate the team. Some fans believe patience is necessary because this is still a new regime with new systems, new relationships, and new structures being implemented throughout the organization. Others feel the roster already has enough talent to compete immediately at the highest level. One fan even asked whether simply reaching the Super Bowl would be enough to call the season a success, or if winning it would be the only acceptable outcome after everything this team has been through recently. That question really captures the mentality surrounding Baltimore right now. Expectations are extremely high, but at the same time, there's recognition that this is still a team adapting to major changes internally. And honestly, that's why moments like Robert Longerbeam's interception matter so much more than people realize. These plays aren't just highlights. They're early indicators. They show which players are adapting quickly, which players are healthy, and which players